All right, what up, everybody? Happy Wednesday evening. Nasty day out there today. 76ers and the Clippers. If you're watching live, third period, third quarter. And the Clippers just took the lead. Sixers were up at 10 right before half, and then James Harden got a couple of assists. And that was about it. We not live on Twitter right now. I don't know. It was very strange when I was booting the show up. It did not want to go live. Man, so something in error. Let's see. We're gonna try it again to go live on Twitter. But the clock was just like going. All right, we're live on Twitter. All right, what's up, everybody? So James Harden makes his return to Philly. They just played him on what was that, Saturday night over the weekend? Saturday night, Sunday night, I forget, where he left the arena without speaking to the media, left right away. So it seems like the Clippers season in flux. So they're in the third quarter. We'll keep you updated for that. Let's hear James Harden's intro. I believe I had it right here.
Participants up first are the Los Angeles Clippers. Head coach Tyronn Lue. Now tonight's starter. At 6'5" from Arizona, number 1, James Harden. 6'5" from Florida State, number 14, Terrence Mann.
All right, so you can hear it there.
Tyronn Lue. Now tonight's starter. At 6'5" from Arizona, number 1, James Harden. 6'5" from Florida State, number 14, Terrence Mann. 6'8".
Yeah, you know it was gonna happen. So here's my question. Because James Harden really didn't ever say anything. He doesn't say anything. Even when you watch him at the post-game press conferences, sometimes with that big beard, you can't even tell if he's talking or not because you can't really see his lips because of the beard. So, he's kind of soft-spoken or whatever. I don't know, but I don't like him either. I couldn't wait to get him out of town. But it's just like he played well last year in that Celtics series. He's playing well here tonight, but no one seems to like him. Even in Los Angeles, you can tell there's chemistry issues on that team, and I think it has a lot to do with him. Maybe it's the stuff where he's not properly preparing for games, and if you listen to some of the stories that's been out there previously, at least last year, where Doc was getting on him because he was going out and going to the clubs or whatever, and was setting a bad example for some of the younger players on the team. I don't know. I just know I'm glad he's not here. That's for sure. So no surprise he got booed, but whatever. I like he had a comment. Someone asked him about the game for it, and he said, "I got bigger things to worry about. This team's got bigger things to worry about, not my return to Philadelphia." And he's absolutely right. Yeah, it's absolutely right. I mean, like, whatever. We're gonna boo him. We don't like him. He doesn't like us. But yeah, so Sixers had a big first half lead, and they're blowing it. They better watch it because they're going to have to position themselves to where they're going to be a play-in game. Right now, they are a play-in team, but still, I think they're a game and a half back from the Pacers for that last real playoff spot. Nick Nurse spoke before the game, and no real new information on Joel Embiid other than he's out there on the court. But as we're getting here to the end of the month, and the play-in round really starts in 3 weeks or something like that. So at some point he's got to come back. But what does that really mean if he's more or less coming back and then going right into the playoffs? I think the regular playoffs, not the play-in series, the regular playoffs start on 4/20, ironically enough. So I would have thought Embiid was back by now, but he's not ready to go, and there's no reason you rush him to come back. But it's just, for anybody that was thinking this was going to be the year, when the minute that Embiid got injured, I just thought the team was going to be a little bit better without Embiid in the lineup, and they just haven't been. So we'll keep you posted on the game. Sixers are up 5 points. About 8 minutes left to go in the third quarter. We'll keep you posted. I'm still a little surprised at the reaction. I guess I don't know. I guess I shouldn't be. But so the NFL is dominant The NFL is dominant during the regular season. The NFL is dominant during the playoffs. The NFL is dominant Super Bowl Sunday. We know that. If you go and you look, and I haven't seen it for 2023, but every year it comes out, they say, okay, here are the top television shows from the entire year. And I think it was calendar year 2022 that it was 37 of the 50 shows were NFL games. So when you think about high ratings and things like that, and you go back, normally it was like NBC on Thursday night, or trying to think the Seinfeld, or, like the network TV shows that did very well. 60 Minutes is always drawn very well, and they would come on after the NFL on Sunday, but they were always one of the top rated shows. So you're talking about top rated TV shows. The last 15 years, the NFL has taken over the world, taken over the United States, certainly on television. So they're beating pretty much everything. And it's not just the primetime games anymore. Before you would get, Monday Night Football on ABC, it would draw a lot of people. But now with everybody having cable or streaming services and having access to whatever they want, and you look but now like the 425 game on Fox will outdraw any TV show for the week. Any primetime TV show for the week, or the 425 game on CBS will outdraw any TV show for it. So like the NFL is so dominant in season, but then there's no real break. Maybe you get that little bit of time between the draft and when training camp starts. And I've never been a big fan of, not that I don't like training camp, but anybody that I used to work with used to say like, we just got to make it to training camp. Well, you still have to have things to talk about during training camp. Otherwise, you're just kind of grinding and beating a dead horse. You can have updates from training camp or whatever. That doesn't mean that that's like going to be your show every day. It's like, the Eagles are in training camp, unless there's storylines or things like that. And by the time you get to training camp, after beating up the Eagles all off season or grinding topics all off season on the Eagles, like you'll more or less need games. But you look at it right now, we're March 27th, and we're now in the second wave of free agency, and now we're really gearing up for the draft. And the NFL is as popular a talking point as ever. I like the NFL offseason better than I like the NBA regular season, or I like the NHL regular season, or I like the beginning of the baseball season. And I was listening to Dan Patrick's show today. I didn't listen. I wasn't listening live today. I went back and listened on demand to one of the hours. And Dan Patrick does really good interviews, and they have a really good show with his cast members and things like that, the Danettes. He also takes phone calls too, which a lot of the national shows don't do. Like Jim Rome takes, but his phone calls are weird. Dan Patrick takes like a regular call. And this guy calls in today, and it brought me back to my days being on the radio. It's one of the things that I used to like. Because you would get a phone call that would say, "Hey, why are you talking about the Eagles? The Phillies are playing tomorrow. It's opening day tomorrow." So you say like, okay, well, what do you want to say about the Phillies? But the Phillies, I don't want to say it, but the Phillies are starting tomorrow. So it's like, right, what do you want me to say about it? Well, I know the Phillies are starting tomorrow, but what did you call up about to talk about the Phillies? Well, I don't have anything to talk about the Phillies. Exactly. So call them with something to talk about the Phillies, or stop. So a guy called in today and was doing the complaining. Opening day's tomorrow. We talk baseball, enough of this NFL stuff. And it's like, okay, great. The baseball is opening day is not for the Phillies. It's been rained out, but opening day is tomorrow for Major League Baseball. I get it. Everybody's happy about it, and it's great. And you can talk about it. And sure, you can do like a preview or something like that. Here's the reality. If you're doing radio locally, if you're doing radio nationally, if you're doing TV locally, if you're doing TV nationally, guess what you're talking about? You're talking about the NFL, because they give you things to talk about. Free agency, draft, changing rules, right? Like that's why it's a 12-month league, and the all season's as good as the regular season sometimes. So I got a kick out of the talk about opening day, man, baseball, and the NBA. Okay, well, what? What do you want to say? Is it good conversation to give your predictions on Major League Baseball? By the way, tune in the First Take, tune in the ESPN. any of those shows, FS1, national radio. You know when they talk about baseball? Delco Steve, do you know when these national outlets talk about baseball?
Playoffs.
When there's a fight or like
Yeah.
pegged or Shohei Otani gambling or things like that. That's when when something happens. Day-to-day baseball, unless something happens, it's like it's not popular enough to do anymore for the major networks. And they don't do that because they don't like baseball. They don't do it because if they did that, less people would watch. They're not stupid. They're playing the hits. So I don't watch Skip Bayless and those shows. They talk about the Cowboys and the Lakers all the time. But still, the NFL gives you stuff to watch. So with all that being said, we'll give some Phillies predictions season because I want to. But also, like, you're not doing a 4-hour show on the Phillies the day
You can't.
opener. You can't. There's plenty of other things to talk about. So I got a kick out of the caller that's mad because, see, people are mad that we're talking about the NFL as much as we are still with baseball starting, things like that.
I had a group chat going off all day about LSU's pro day. No one was talking about it. I got one text about the opening day being canceled, and everyone else was talking about pro day.
Right, yeah. Jalen Daniels, we had a huge crowd of people down there watching him.
Neighbors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have two top 6 or 7 picks that are down there working out. So I heard this, and this is Maggie Gray from CBS Sports Radio. She does the morning show with McLovin, Andrew Perloff, and I love Maggie, and I think she's great. So, but she's got a take, and I've heard some of these takes over the last 24 hours of, can't you just let the NBA have Christmas? Like, why do you have to hijack Christmas? It's one thing if it's on a Monday or a Sunday, but why can't they just have the NBA? What about Christmas being like spend time with your family? You don't have to watch NFL games. So here's Maggie Gray on CBS Sports Radio giving her take on the NFL having a doubleheader on Christmas.
Stop putting games on Christmas when Christmas doesn't fall on a Sunday. I really, really dislike this from the NFL. Listen, they know they've got us. They took Thanksgiving and we all went along with it. And we love Thanksgiving with football. It's become part of like the American experience for sports fans to have football on Thanksgiving. But Christmas, to me, you're going out of your way now to capitalize on the fact that people are gathered together and mostly off of work, if you can afford to be.
Yeah. They're taking advantage of people that are sitting in a house somewhere and want something to watch.
It's a terrible take to say let NBA have it. If you're saying that means you're going to be sitting there watching NBA games. I'd rather watch NFL than NBA. So
exactly.
If you're going to be watching sports, watch the better product.
Well, okay, then turn the TV off at your house.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Just don't watch it. Just don't watch it. But why can't you have the NFL game on? I'm not telling you have to have it on during dinner or anything like that.
Which I would.
Yeah, you don't turn it off. You finish your dinner and you go watch.
I'm eating dinner like
whatever.
This.
Yeah,
staring at my phone.
So no, and I actually like Maggie a lot, and I think she's very talented, and I'm a big fan of her. But I mean, like, give me a break. F the NBA. The NBA must be miserable that their thing of having games on Christmas. Now the NFL's like, oh, Christmas is on a Wednesday. Yeah, we'll have a doubleheader anyway.
And then you think about it, Christmas is on a Tuesday. You just have a second Monday night game. You just like.
Dude, you can have teams that are on a bye the week before or something like that. Like, I mean, I don't.
Or if you play on Tuesday on Christmas, if the Christmas is on Tuesday, you play on Tuesday, then you play the following Monday. So that's the same thing as Sunday to Monday night, or not. Right. You know what I mean? Monday to Sunday night.
So Christmas 2025 is a Thursday. So there's going to be Christmas.
Yep. Oh, it's going to be 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock primetime game, like a normal.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll treat it like Thanksgiving.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because they've already proven they'll do it on a Thursday. It's on a Saturday in 2027.
So yeah, same thing. You might get 4 games there.
It's on a Monday in 2028. So you can be guaranteed that this is going to be every single year, and I love it. And I love it. Why wouldn't you?
I agree.
Why wouldn't you want on? I mean.
You got Christmas money to gamble. Let's go.
Well, there's another thing. I didn't even think of the betting angle of it. Yeah, there's so many reasons to be okay with it. And the hell with the NBA. And I don't care. I don't think the NFL, I can't say that the NFL's watered down enough to where I don't want it. I'm not gonna lie. There are times during the season where I just can't stay up for Sunday Night Football. I'm just exhausted. I've had a long day or whatever. I don't make it past halftime. Or if it's a shitty Monday night game, then you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to finish watching this game. But I mean, that every Sunday, Red Zone, I'm watching college football on all day on Saturday, in and out, depending on what I'm doing. And yeah, I'm watching football pretty much from Thursday when the game comes on Thursday night until Monday night. I'm not telling you I want Tuesday or Wednesday night football. I don't need football every night of the week because there's college games on some of those nights, so I can watch the Tuesday night MAC games or whatever. But yeah, that's not 12 months a season, Delco Steve. So you go September through January where you're having games on 3 or 4 nights a week. Yes, I want that.
I love MAC games on a Tuesday. That's always just,
Yeah, man, you get a good one.
Pure degeneracy right there.
And the late Saturday night games, you'll get some bad Pac-12 games, or you'll get I'll get a Hawaii game that's on late. You'll get some Mountain West or some WAC games. I don't know. I can watch almost any college football game too. I'll watch Iowa State. I'll watch bad Big 12 teams. I'll watch bad Pac-12 teams. I can pretty much watch. I can't watch the. You know what? I can't even watch Villanova or good one double games, where they call it now. I can watch them.
I can't go that low. It's just like slow at that point.
Well, I can't do Penn against Princeton or anything or those games because they'll pop up every once in a while. I don't necessarily watch those games.
I think about like Thursday night games like Jags Browns when they were terrible, and it's like, all right, yeah, I'm still locked in.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So,
I mean, who's going to get the second win of their season in Week 10? I'm watching.
Yeah, it's even fun to watch the bad teams because you have a rooting interest.
Yeah, I'll find some way to make it interesting.
Yeah, prop bets.
Prop bets, fantasy, pick something.
Well, there you go. So everybody that's out there mad about the NFL and it's too much and all this and all that, they just don't pay attention to it right now. I know it's hard not to, and you want to get baseball talk. But again, what's the baseball talk? Predictions and things like that. All right, we're gonna talk about that coming up here in a second. But yeah, like just the NFL rules the world, and I'm totally fine with it. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, the only time I'm locked into baseball is come the home stretch, get in the playoffs, and then playoffs. And then even at that point, football comes back on. I'm still watching the football games over the baseball games.
If the Phillies are in the playoffs, obviously, but if the Phillies aren't in the playoffs, yeah, I don't know how I'm paying attention.
I'm saying if the Phillies are in the playoffs and there's a football game on Thursday night, if I'm home, I'm probably watching the football game over. Like I'll have the Phillies on somewhere, but I'm still probably watching the football game.
Nah, you're a Flyers guy. You're a Flyers guy too. You're Phillies 4. It's all right. I don't hold it against you. I love baseball. I love the long season. I love the pace of the season. The games are actually a little bit too fast. I'm not going to complain about it. They're because they start them earlier. A lot of times by the time I get my kids in bed and they actually go to sleep and I'm like, all right, now I'm able to turn it back on. The game's almost over. You get games over before 9 o'clock now, which is, believe me, it's a lot better than having these 3.5, 4 hour, 9 a.m. games.
The 4 hour games are the worst.
Yeah. But like, I love the Phillies season. I'll put now that the Phillies games are on the Odyssey app, I'll put my AirPods in and I'll listen to Scott in LA. Honestly, I listen to as much baseball as I watch. I love listening to the baseball on the radio, and I love Scott and LA. They're the best. So yeah, like
I couldn't even tell you the last time I listened to a baseball game on the radio.
No,
it's been years.
Really?
Yeah.
Before we redid my kitchen, I had the original radio underneath the cabinet on my sink. Yeah, dude. I should Instagram it out on my story. And it wasn't even digital. The clock was digital, but you had the dial to get to the stations. So you had to use the dial to find the frequency. And I had it. I wanted to keep it. And my wife's like, we're not drilling a hole in the brand new cabinet, so you can put that back up there. So I'm like, all right, I put it in the garage because I don't want to throw it out. And I'm
nostalgic purchases.
I threw it out. So I'm like, whatever, get it out. I don't want to look at it. It makes me sad. But but now because you can listen to it on the stream, I will have it on the stream, and I'll have the TV on because most of the time the radio call or you set it up to where the radio call is before the TV call. So if something happens, I could look up to see what it is and listen to it. And that way I don't have to constantly be looking at the TV. So if Fransky calls a home run or there's a play, now I just stop and I go and I look to see what happens. So I am so pumped up for the Philly season, but it doesn't mean that I'm forcing conversation leading up to it. All right, so let's get to some of that right now. All right, so the over-under, Delco Steve, for the Phillies is 89.5. It's been bet down. It was 90.5, and now pretty much. And I of course I like Bet Parks app, but use whatever you want to. But the over-under is 89.5 wins. Where would you have? First of all, have you done any Phillies or any baseball futures at this point?
No, I don't have any futures.
89.5. Where are you going?
It's a long season, so I don't need to jump in now. Well, they finished with 90 last year.
Is that what they had last year? I don't even know.
Yeah, 90 and 72.
Okay.
Did they? I think they're probably a little bit better team than they were last year with the depth pieces they got. So
you're going over.
I would go over.
Well, I said 88 wins. That was my prediction somewhere that I said that. So if I'm going with 88 wins, and that would be under. I don't think they win the division. I think they're in upper 80. Yeah. If things break right for them, yeah, they could easily win 90 games. They're a good team. But yeah, like if you think about it, they've been their rotation has been pretty healthy. Wheeler and Nola have been healthy. Suarez started the season last year. He was hurt. But like they've really, if you lose a Zach Wheeler or out of your rotation, like that's where you run into trouble. I saw their playoff team, like for instance, to make the playoffs, it's minus 245, yes, plus 185, no. So for a $100 bet, if you said no, they don't make the playoffs, you'd win 185. You would have to bet $245 if you wanted to win 100 for them to make the playoffs. So that's what the minus 245 is. So that's a big number. So they're a pretty heavy favorite. Which Eskin said they're winning 106 games. Spike, I can't imagine Howard would say 106 games. He's not exactly. He's not very positive on the Phillies.
There's no way that's happening.
No, I don't agree.
Nola and Wheeler would have to win every start that they pitch to have that happen. Agreed.
All right, so NL East. Howard said, was it tongue in cheek when he said it? Winning 106 games. Anyway, win the NL East. Atlanta's minus 345, so they're the heavy favorite. Phillies plus 350. Delco Steve. Mets plus 1,500. Miami plus 2,500.
Well, the Mets, Nationals, and Marlins are kind of trash, aren't they?
And the Nats are 10,000. So if you wanted to bet,
take a flyer. I mean, you would think the Phillies should beat up on those teams a little bit, but they did. I don't know. I feel like historically they don't.
Miami's always been a pretty tough draw for them. I think last year they
even if the Marlins are utter trash, they lose to them.
Right. No, you're right.
And you would have to expect the Braves to keep doing what they're doing. They're deep everywhere. They're starting rotations.
Yeah, they're easily the division winner, but you could also have injuries with Atlanta, so who knows?
That's what I'm saying. They could sustain more, or they could play through injuries better than we could.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, because the favorite to win the Cy Young, Spencer Strider, at plus 380, and then you have Zach Wheeler at plus 900. So, and they're going to be opening on Friday now because the game's postponed. So you have the two Cy Young favorites in the National League start the season for the Braves and the Phillies, which is pretty interesting. To win the National League, Dodgers plus 200, Atlanta plus 300. Then you have the Phillies at plus 600. So again, as far as just with the odds, when you look at it, it's Dodgers, Braves, Phillies. And then I think the Diamondbacks are fourth in that right there. So for the most part, at least the odds makers, pretty clear that they believe the Phillies are going to be pretty much where they were last year, right around where they were last year, which is wild card team. And then once the playoffs start, they're going to be a team to be worried about once you make the playoffs.
Well, I definitely think that like the bye situation in the playoffs now is a huge factor in that. Like, I would never bet the Dodgers or the Braves in that scenario.
Hasn't worked out.
Baseball, it doesn't make sense to me how the best teams, like, that's a reward. You get a week off. Baseball, you get 20 days off in a 182 game season, and then here's 7 days off. You're not playing like that. It doesn't work like that. Sitting around doesn't help. So betting the Phillies plus 600, I mean, there's no point in doing it now. You probably get the same number better towards the end of the year. But betting the teams that don't get those buys are probably a profitable way to go about playoff baseball.
Yeah, Strider crumbles against the Phillies in the playoffs. He's 8-0.
He dominates this in the regular season.
He's 8-0 against the Phillies in the regular season. But yeah, in the playoffs, the Phillies have definitely gotten the better of them.
He likes it quiet in the stadium, so he can't pitch here.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I forgot about that. All that stuff with the Braves last year.
He wanted COVID baseball back.
Oh, you remember that the Bryce Harper hits the home run against the shit talker, and he gives the look back at him. Yep. God, I forgot all about that. That was awesome.
Last year's playoffs were awesome.
Up until Game 3 of the NLCS.
Yep.
Oh man. All right. Well, anyway, MVP. Bryce Harper's plus 1,000.
How Trey big Turner, is Otani a favorite?
Trey Turner plus 1,800. Let me see here. No. I just went out of it here. World Series league winners awards. Here we go. I don't think let me see. National League MVP Acuna plus 500. He's a monster.
He's the favorite over Otani?
Yeah.
I'm surprised by that.
Well, new city, new team. Now all with all the shit that has been going down with him. And Acuna, the numbers he put up last year they're like throwback numbers.
He was insane.
Guys don't steal bases like that anymore and have that kind of power. This isn't Jose Canseco all juiced up in 1990. he had, and he seems like a real dick too, but he had 41 home runs, 73 stolen bases. He batted .337. His on base percentage was almost .420.
How is Otani the third favorite on his own team on FanDuel? Mookie and Freeman are both ahead of him.
And you know how? They're saying, all right, well, what player from the Dodgers is going to win MVP because they're going to win 105 games, right?
Yeah, I should bet on Otani right now because
it's pretty good value at plus 950. Tatis, Matt Olson, but yeah, so Bryce is plus 1,000 at least. Actually, I'm not seeing it. It's plus 1,200 on FanDuel. I was looking on Parks; it was plus 1,000.
1,200 on FanDuel. All
right, there you go. All right, so Bryce Harper home runs over under. Delco Steve, 30.5.
He started off so slow last year and then came on strong at the end. He was also, he was dinged up at the beginning of the year. He was coming off the injury, right? At the beginning of the year.
Yep.
He should get back to form. I would go over.
Over 30.5. Schwarber, 39.5. Over under.
So what's his over under for hits? 45?
They don't have it. Over under for average 200.
Oh, under on that.
Well, I'm just making that up. So
I'm saying I would take it if it was an offer.
I wonder. I heard Schwarber talk a couple times during the offseason where he didn't talk about how he's going to change his approach, but he did recognize that he needs to put more balls in play and needs to have a higher batting average. Now, listen, he's walking the ball, and I mean, if he's getting close to 50 home runs every year, he's getting 40 plus home runs every year. The impact with Schwarber in the lineup, and I've done the hit him down further in the lineup. Him batting leadoff is But if he's most comfortable at leadoff and that's the most productive he's going to be, if it's a mental thing, then you just leave him at leadoff. I don't know who else should be batting leadoff. Like, it's not like you have this base stealer that you can get up there that's going to walk and get on base and then steal 80 bases for crying out loud.
Trey getting on for average and stealing bases and Stott.
Right. And like by the way, I'm fine with if they would have, if Schwarber's not hitting or whatever, they would have moved guys around in the lineup. I'm perfectly fine with that. And Trey would steal a lot of bases. It's been working with Schwarber, with one of the best offenses in the league. I don't have a problem with him batting leadoff, but like he also I don't have a problem with him.
I don't have a problem with him batting leadoff, but the fact that we have two guys that are kind of like ideal for a 1-2 spot in the lineup is the issue for me.
Right.
If you didn't have those guys and he was being leadoff, then it is what it is. But the fact that you have two guys that are contact hitters that have speed that can steal, that he's taking the spot of, that's more of the issue for me. Especially if he could be like a 3, 4, 5 hitter, if he was actually comfortable in that spot in the lineup.
Schwarber 39.5, you say over?
I would say over. Why not? He hits bombs.
It's been a good signing too, man. It's not a huge contract, and he has put up huge numbers. His 2 seasons with the Phillies, he has 46 and 47 home runs.
I'm surprised it's set that low.
Yeah, really. Now, he struck out 200 times both seasons, and he, the batting average isn't necessarily great, but damn, he's hit 93 home runs in 2 seasons.
Wasn't he? If he hit 50 last year, wasn't he going to be like the first player to hit 50 home runs with a batting average below 200 or something like that?
Was that what it was? Yeah, he batted 197 last year. 47, 104, 104 RBIs. Still walks a lot, so his on base percentage is still respectable, 343. All right, so Trey Turner, over under home runs, 22.5.
Over. I would go over on that. I feel like these are all low.
I agree. Bryce, I'm less. You also have to look at the injury stuff with Bryce, and he's already got a stiff back, and he's missed time with injuries or whatever. So maybe that they look at that and say, Schwarber pretty much is always playing, and now he's a DH. So he can, and he's been hitting home runs. I agree with you. I think Trey Turner's like a 25 home run guy.
I'm about to parlay all 3 of these, if you can.
Ooh, what would you get with that? Check it out. The over on all 3. Ooh, that's a good parlay. All right, and then just for giggles here, Rhys Hoskins, 27.5 home runs.
Where did he sign with?
He signed with the Brewers. He's with Milwaukee. Yeah.
Isn't Milwaukee kind of like a home run park?
Yeah, it is. The Billy Brewer sliding down that stupid slide where he goes down. Yeah,
you can't parlay him. That's stupid.
Why?
I don't know.
They're worried that Bryce Harper will not on purpose not get the home runs like that idiot on the Raptors. Anyway,
I mean, I could do the math on it and tell you what it would be.
You can do math?
Yeah, I can do math.
You have a calculator?
Oh, okay. I got a parlay calculator.
There you go. All right, so there's some over-unders on the season. Did you? So I still been looking for Otani information on this on the gambling investigation. So, man, like I don't believe it. I don't believe him. I think this is a bunch of BS. ESPN continues to ask questions, right? So check it out. Let's just do the timeline, right? So he gets fired. The interpreter gets fired. He, through Otani's people, they schedule an interview with ESPN where he says, Otani paid off my debts. He was mad at me, but he's a friend. And he paid off his debts, and he did not bet, but he paid off the debts for me, blah, 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 blah. And then the next day, they walk it all back and say, no, he's a thief. He's a liar. He's a thief. Like, hang on a second. This doesn't add up. So ESPN's been asking, because then the story came out, they've now contacted authorities because they want this investigated, right? So ESPN now is asking questions. They're saying, okay, well, who's investigating it? Who did you speak with? Asking the Dodgers, asking Major League Baseball, asking Otani, who's investigating it? So like Steve, if you stole $4.5 million from me, right? You were my translator and my assistant or whatever, and you stole this money from me. Wouldn't it be pretty easy for me to answer you or to answer the media like, yeah, I reported him to the local authorities who then contacted the FBI? It'd be an easy question to answer. Instead, they're not answering the question. Why is that?
Because it's full of shit. They're full of shit.
Because right.
It's and I don't know, when they did the statement was that Monday, he said he never bet on baseball or any other sports. Why would you just leave out, just say I didn't bet on baseball? Just at least cover yourself that way. Because if you did bet on something else and it does come out, then it's
you're gonna look like you're guilty and you're doing something else.
Yeah, now you look like you're being shady and hiding it. Where if you just said I never bet on baseball and it comes out you bet on football, then it's like, all right, well, we said we didn't bet on baseball, and he wasn't affecting the game. He wasn't trying to influence the game.
If he bet on European soccer or the NBA or whatever, something like that, it's not illegal for him to do that. He's allowed as a player. He's allowed. He's not allowed to bet on baseball. He's allowed to bet on other sports. Now, is he allowed to bet through a bookie? No, he's not allowed to bet through a bookie, and that's where he's going to run. But you think baseball really wants to, because he was betting through a bookie? You think baseball really wants to make an example out of him, where they would act like this isn't that big of a deal? It feels like they would act like this isn't a big deal, even though they shouldn't do that. But I mean, something still just it isn't right about this. And it'd be an easy answer if this dude really was a thief and stole $4.5 million from Otani to pay off this bookie and he had no knowledge of it. Then we contacted the FBI, or the FBI was already investigating the bookie and they're just following up on this, right? Like, it'd be an easy answer. Contact the FBI. But you know what? Do they want the FBI investigating this? Because if he indeed was betting games or had something to do with this through text messages and things like that, he's fucked. There's an electronic fingerprint did everything. Unless he was just verbally telling this dude, this is who I want, this is what I want. And they would have to translate text messages or whatever, but this is an easy answer. An easy answer. The FBI is investigating. The whatever sheriff's office is investigating. It's an easy answer. And they won't even answer the question. No one wants to answer the question. So something weird's going on here, and we'll see. We'll have to see what happens. Who's investigating it? This dude's a thief of $4.5 million. Someone's going to investigate it. I don't know, man.
I got that video from yesterday. I was showing you from him in the dugout.
Put it up there. I was just thinking it.
You tell me this guy doesn't bet on things? Look how excited he gets over such a stupid little game. He definitely bets on games. Come on.
And he's
a degenerate just like the rest of us.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably bet $1,000 on that right there.
Probably.
Pete Rose also had comments about Otani, who said that if he had an interpreter when all the stuff went down with him, he'd still be in baseball right now. In other words, the translator or the interpreter didn't say exactly what Otani was saying. I don't know. It's just it is a screwed up situation, but it feels like it's just going to go away, because even if you Google it right now, baseball's not interested in really investigating this. It certainly doesn't look like it is. But anyway, Sixers up by 2 points here, about 6 minutes to go in the game. As just when you think that they're starting to pull away a little bit, and the Clippers make a run, and then the Sixers make a little bit of a run there. So you have Toby out there, big 3-pointer made there to put them up by 5. So we'll keep you updated on that as well with the I
get 6 points from Kawhi, please.
Is that what you need? What did you make? What bet you make?
I got it at 14.5. And he's got 9.
9 points?
Yeah. He's on pace for his lowest total in a game that he's actually played like the full minutes.
And you took the over. So it's really you.
Yeah, probably.
You're the problem.
You're welcome, Sixers fans.
There you go. Sixers making a run. Now they're up 7. We'll keep you updated. Earlier, I saw some people that were asking questions about the non-compete or whatever. Ask me when I can go back to work. Where is it now? Trying to find it. Anyway, yeah. So the end of March, I can technically start working again on the radio or in some type of competing business. But anyway, here it is. When's my non-compete end? There's Michael. Yeah, it ends at the end of this month. So
less than a week.
There's another non-compete that's ending, and it's ending tomorrow. Delco Steve. And the cuz is back.
Toil, sweat, big bleeping heart. Forget the platitudes. Keep it bleeping real. Emotion and devotion all day, every day, even if it causes bleeping commotion. This is us. The world knows us for cheesesteaks and the art museum steps. Our fans painted as beer-swinging, foul-mouthed cartoon thugs. I get the notion of
Jamie
how
Lynch. Hold on, was that Jamie Lynch right there, the dad?
I get the notion of how a foul-mouthed cartoon
It looks like him.
thug. I get the notion of how a stereotype is born, but here's my beef. They don't see what we see. They can't see into our soul. Maybe we overlove and we over-celebrate, and at times, yes, we overdo it. But isn't that beautiful? Isn't that what being a fan is supposed to be? Here, it's religion, but all are welcome. This isn't meant to be literal, and it is meant to include the union, the local colleges, and everything else Philadelphia. There are no stipulations, no zip code requirements. We're all equal parts 4 for 4. Join me in celebrating us. Philly for Philly. This is the Anthony Gargano Show on PHLY.
Starting tomorrow, 9 to 11. Yeah, yeah, that's what I said to him. I texted him when I saw him on one of the videos. I'm like, "Yo, man, cuz you lose some weight." But yeah, so it's been a while since everything went down with Anthony, and finally he is able to work. So his first show is tomorrow, 9 a.m., 9 to 11. I'll be curious to see, because there really hasn't been a lot of buzz about PHLY since they launched. When they first launched, and obviously I'm friends with Jamie, I'm friends with Devon, I'm close with them. I'm close with Anthony, so I've been paying attention, but I haven't, I haven't heard a lot of people saying that they watch it or whatever. And I'm wondering, now that Anthony is back and able to work, this is supposed to be kind of the centerpiece of the network, of what they're doing. And now maybe it feels like they can officially start what they wanted to do 6 months ago. So 2-hour show, it's something totally different. And, I'm looking at it from my perspective, right? If he's doing this 2-hour show, you almost have to treat it like a TV show, right? You're in front of the camera. So this isn't a radio show where I can go on the radio right now and I can talk for 15 to 20 minutes just by myself. And I can do segment to segment to segment. It's much tougher to do that on TV. You can't do that on TV. So I know I would have anxiety if I was doing something like this, so we're like, what am I going to do? Right? Like, you have to have, if you have 3 segments an hour and you have 3 commercial breaks, that means that you have to come up with essentially 17-minute segments, 3 17-minute segments, 51 minutes out of the hour. And that's not easy to do if you're solo on what's going to be a digital platform. So I honestly don't. I talked to Anthony a little bit, but I don't know exactly what he has planned. I'm sure he's going to have guests, and he's going to. But I'm intimidated just to see what Anthony's going to do, because I want to see what it looks like. But I'll be curious for everybody that's out there, people that are in the chat, if they're going to tune in or they have interest in watching it or whatever. Because honestly, it's something that, and I'm not talking about specifically PHLY, but like whether it's this or it's something else or it's that, I'm most likely going to be, no matter what I do, it's going to be some type of a digital thing, even if it's on podcast or if it's on terrestrial radio, right? Like you're not doing anything that's not digital anymore. So, and I don't know, and this is on YouTube. So all you have to do, just like if you're watching right now on Twitter or X, just go to YouTube and search PHLY and you can watch it, subscribe, and you can watch it right there. And they have a decent amount of subscribers. I think they have close to 16,000 subscribers. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know I don't know what the reaction is going to be. And I think it would be the same thing with me, right? Like I'm not a social media whore. And when I say that, I'm not ripping the people that do it because they're very good at doing it. And honestly, it would benefit me a hell of a lot more if on Twitter I had more interaction and more traction. I don't, because I don't tweet a lot because it's just like I can't live my life with takes and doing all that other shit. But like, and Anthony's the same kind of person. He puts stuff on social media and he does it, but we also like we don't live on Twitter. We don't live on social media. We know you don't either, Delco Steve, because you don't even.
I was about to say, you mean tweeting twice in the last decade isn't a good way to get traction?
Right. So it's yeah. So I don't know, because it's like with me and with Anthony, like Anthony, I feel like his core listener, and it's the same thing with me. I might trend a little bit younger as far as who my core listener was on terrestrial radio or on radio. But is that person listening to YouTube, right? Like, is that person tuning into YouTube? We have a bunch of people that do it here, Steve, but like, the couple hundred people that listen to us on a regular basis, that's not launching a network, right? So you have to have a bigger following. You have to, like, if you're going to pay your bills and you're going to be successful, like, it has to be bigger. And Anthony's core listener is probably at the back end of the radio demo, 40 years older plus, 35 years older plus. Like he's talking about zip codes, probably a lot of Philly zip codes, Delco zip codes, South Jersey zip codes. I don't know who's tuning in to YouTube to watch it. I don't know. And I think it would be the same thing with me. So it's, I'll be really curious to see how it goes for him. I'm interested.
I mean, I love Cuz. I think it's better when he's out and about and doing his thing.
Yeah, he's and I think it gives him a chance to maybe do things a little bit differently and spread his wings a little bit. Marcus Hayes told me a story about Anthony. Marcus Hayes does stuff at WIP, and he worked with me one day, and we were talking about Ant. And he told me when he was a writer, so before Anthony came to WIP, he was a features writer for the Daily News. He worked up in New York for a while. He was a features writer in Philly. And when he got the job at WIP and he left the newspaper industry, Marcus told me that guys were so happy because Anthony was so talented and so much more talented than any of these other writers as far as writing features. And they were like, thank God he's out of here, because he made us look bad with how talented a writer he was. So, and I knew he was a talented writer. Ant does movies and screenplays and like that, stuff like that. But like from a newspaper writer's perspective, he was like, oh, we were so happy he was gone because he used to lap us on stuff that he wrote. So I'll be curious to see how it ends up working out.
I think if they figure out a good format, he'll have a good personality for TV.
Has to be produced well.
He needs talent, like the guys around him to know what they're doing. And
that's another question. It's actually a great point. I don't know if do they have producers that actually have produced digital content? Or, I mean, really, it's a TV show, isn't it? Isn't that really what you're doing?
I mean, it looks like it. It looks like a Colin Cowherd type show or something like that. Yeah,
this isn't going to be best show ever on Comcast Sportsnet that just put a radio show with a couple of cameras and they have callers and they do the radio show. That's not what this is going to be. That's not what PHLY is. So, I don't know. I don't know enough about the company to know, like, are they ready to go with producing digital content? Or is it's probably going to be like with anything. It's going to take a little bit of time to figure out exactly what the show is and what works and what doesn't or whatever. So I'm excited to tune in and see exactly what it is tomorrow. But again, go go to YouTube and PHLY, subscribe and watch tomorrow. And you can, excuse me, you can also you can listen to it in podcast form as well. So if you're not a person that does YouTube, then you can get it like a podcast and you can stream it on your phone or whatever. How do you listen to podcasts, Steve?
Besides you better be, you bet, not really.
So do you listen to that live or you listen to in podcast form?
I listen to some of it live during football season, like when they do like the bets for like that night or something like that.
Right.
Because obviously if I wait for it to come out, I'm not going to get it for like in time for the game time. But other than that, I'm listening to it while I'm driving around, going to work and stuff, or going from place to place at work.
Oh, so that's what you're listening to that as opposed to tuning in WIP or the Fanatic or stuff like that.
I only listened to you on the radio after I got out of it. Everyone else pissed me off. So once you left, I didn't have anything to listen to on sports radio wise in Philly.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, Joey Merlino podcast is excellent, Vince. Have you caught any of that there,
No.
Ducko Steve?
Nope.
Oh my God, dude. It is, and I can't tell you that I've listened to a lot of them, but the stories and Joe Perry, who is the host of the show, they have a ton of followers and subscribers and listeners now because Merlino, he talks pretty candidly about stuff. You ever hear the story about Merlino sitting in Eric Lindros's seats at the Flyers game?
I think we talked about that. Maxie just ate it.
Sixers up 104-101, less than a minute to go in the fourth. So Merlino, and this was a well-known story back in, I guess it was the late 90s. Joey Merlino, who was the reputed mob boss of Philadelphia.
we did this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, for people that didn't hear it, Lindros, he was sitting in Lindros's seats. And because at the time, Delaware Avenue was the hot spot, and Lindros was always out on Delaware Avenue. Club Deco, I saw him at it more than a couple of times. And Joey Merlino and his crew, Delaware Avenue, I would see those guys out at Club Deco. And I'm not telling you where they were friends or anything like that, but I mean, I'm sure they knew each other or knew of each other. So with Lindros and his notorious nightlife, it's like, oh, he's friends with Joey Merlino or whatever. So Merlino on one of the podcasts talked about this, and he was like, I'm a Flyers fan. I bought the fucking tickets. So Lindros sold his tickets that he had. He sold them to ticket broker.
Just happened to buy Lindros' tickets.
And he bought them, and that's what he said. So that's the
yeah, I don't buy that.
Oh, man.
Just like I don't believe Porter's little brother wasn't in on the betting for his prop bets.
Tony Bruno Show podcast. Anybody listen to that on Big Mama's? What's the name of the network that he's on down there, Michael? It's
no clue.
It's Big Mama or Big something. Tony Bruno Show. I think it's Big something.
Careful what you type in there.
Yeah, you're right. But he has Tony loves doing shows. I forget where it is. But anyway, yeah, I do not listen to that. Some people in chat put up Jack and James, the High Hopes podcast, which I'm sure a lot of Phillies fans listen to. It's it's awesome. So yeah, other than that, I'll listen to a station in Boston, their morning show. I'll listen a little bit live, and then I'll catch up with the rest of it on demand later on, because you can sift through what you want to listen to, what you don't want to listen to. They talk a ton of hockey up there, and I have no interest in listening to Bruins segments. So yeah,
you're just becoming a Flyers guy. You can't be listening to the other team stuff.
It's not. I mean, listen, it's true. How could I listen to the Bruins talk? And there's a couple of shows that I like to listen to. Everything I listen to is terrestrial radio. If I listen to podcasts, I listen to true crime podcasts or things like that, right? But there's a show in LA that I listen to on K-Rock, Klein and Alley show, which, it's because it's 3 hours behind. A lot of times I'll get the early part of that show as I'm listening to it. I like Dan Patrick as well. Dan Patrick's show is really good. So
I'll tune into the Kelsey podcast once in a while if it's something that really piques my interest or something like that.
So is that still a big thing? Do they still rule the world?
They just had Saquon on the other day.
I saw I guess they released it tonight. They released, or was it last night they released it?
I think it's Tuesday nights.
Well, I saw the clip that they put out there with Saquon, and he was
trying to get Kelsey.
Yeah, he said, "Come back and play." No, Chuck and OG Wade do not still have a podcast. They do not. I was told that Chuck was a crazy man who was out of line, and OG Wade wanted nothing to do with it anymore.
I can only imagine how that went.
Yep. Yeah, I can imagine how it went too. But anyway, yeah. So people listen, Steve. For everybody out there that haven't heard me say this the last couple of days, I am not going to be on tomorrow night or Friday night. We are headed to Baltimore tomorrow. We're going down to the aquarium and check out the Inner Harbor or whatever. Not going to be good weather tomorrow, but it's supposed to be a nice day on Friday. So that's really the day that we were going to go out and do most of the stuff. So I'm not coming out with a best of or anything like that. So people want to know, is there going to be something to tune in and listen to on Thursday or Friday nights? And Delco Steve, I had given you permission if you wanted to do the show, you can. And I also won't be offended if you don't.
Well, I was thinking today I would get my buddy and do something with the opening day for tomorrow night, and then the game got postponed. So now it'll be Friday, and I probably will take advantage of the Friday night off and do something. So now I got it. Well, if I can come up with something for tomorrow, I'll put something out. I'll do.
Well, you gotta let me know because I got to set up the room for you. I don't know if you know how to.
I can figure it out. I've played with it before. But yeah, I was originally like, if the opening day I have a whole game of content to talk about, and be like, all right, well, what are we excited for, stuff like that, and then of course there's no game. So
Oz
killed that idea.
Yeah. Still saving the iced tea segment. Yeah, we still haven't done it.
I actually gave in and tried it before. It was actually,
and
I liked it. It's an intriguing taste for sure.
But do you ever drink diet substances?
No, never. If you told me that was diet, I never would have believed it.
Yeah, it tastes good.
Yeah. Watch me watch the end of the Flyers game tomorrow.
Oh. So the Sixers are up 107-105. About 20-some seconds left to go as Buddy Hield drains a three to put him up. 22.7 seconds left. How about that?
I'm gonna lose this quad bet by 1 point.
Really? All right. So
he's at 14 right now.
So I'll let you decide. A bucket to win it, and you win your bet, or he misses it. Sixers win.
Oh, give me the bet.
Yeah, I agree.
Give me the bet.
Regular season games, team's not going anywhere.
Yeah. If they were cooking or something and looking good, great. Give them the win. But no, they've been looking like trash anyway. They got a win they shouldn't have over the weekend. So give me the win.
You know, what I've been reading a lot of the last, I'll say yesterday and then even more today, the whole P. Diddy stuff. I don't know if you've seen any of this. I had no idea this dude, man.
I haven't got into it since we talked about it. What was that, Monday night? I think.
Well, the claws are out, and this dude's in trouble. I didn't realize who's the one guy that came out on Shannon Sharp's podcast, and Shannon Sharp podcast P. Diddy. What was his name? Oh, Cat Williams. Okay. And I remember him talking about P. Diddy, and it's like, I'm way out of any type of hip hop culture or anything like that. Kawhi just nailed it. Tie the game. He just went over.
Woo!
And won.
Oh, wait, he didn't need to do that. He didn't need to get the and one.
And one. Oubre fouled him.
I just needed the basket. It was now give the Sixers the last shot.
Hell of a layup, too.
They should still have last shot here, right? All right.
Yeah. But
15
if
seconds.
he makes it,
All right.
if he makes it, they're down 1. Yeah, but Cat Williams, and I remember him saying it. I'm like, well, damn. He said, I got to protect my integrity because if P. Diddy be wanting the party, you got to tell him no, referring to his infamous wild parties. And I got to find but he said something else too. He was talking about how he was talking about like to keep his bunghole away from P. Diddy. And I remember him saying it, and I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? And what I've been reading here in the last 24 hours is there's a lot of bisexuality being attached to P. Diddy and like orgies and just a whole lot of screwed up sexual stuff with his ex-girlfriends. And like Usher was 14 when he was living in his mansion, and Usher talked about all the stuff that he saw, and Justin Bieber was 15, and there was a whole bunch of shit going down when he said, he goes, so what just happened in the Sixers game? I didn't even
Maxey
see.
got fouled.
And they're challenging it. He said they offered him $50 million and he turned it down. Who's going to turn down $50 million? Now I've had to turn $50 million down 4 times just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Because P. Diddy, he wanted the party, and you got to tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. And he said he has the receipts for everything. So everybody's coming out. 50 Cent has some documentary about Puffy and the parties and stuff like that he was putting out there. So there's allegations all over the place. He's in big time trouble. But
it's the time of the scandal, baby. Scandals everywhere.
But anyway, so so Maxey got fouled. So is he coming to the line with two free throws?
I believe if this goes our way, I would assume.
So what was he
was driving the lane, he tripped.
Oh, so the coach's challenge could be reversed.
Yeah, it looks like he just slipped.
Oh, really?
He was looked like he was running in place, and then he fell, and they called a foul.
What do you think of the broadcast team for the 76ers?
They're fine. I could take them or leave them.
Yeah, I could definitely leave them. It's more about Allah than
yeah. When Allah's good, he's good, but when he gets on his antics, it's just like, all right, dude, shut up.
But also, when you think 76ers, who thinks of Allah Abdelnami as, you know what I mean? Like you want a guy that's like a 76er or has a local flavor or whatever. This guy just they're hiring an announcer. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. I was a Sixer for like a quarter of a season. Yeah, it does look like he slipped. Yeah, I feel like people are afraid to criticize Kate Scott, but I think the bigger issue is those two together.
I guess I don't even watch enough. When I watch Sixers games, I'm tuning in for this part of the game. I'm
right now,
tuning in at the end, so I don't get the oversaturation of it as compared to other people. I just got 2 texts saying the broadcast team is ass.
Yeah,
from 2 different people.
I mean, it is not good. And again, I want to say that I'd like to hear Kate with maybe Mark Jackson or somebody like that. It's too pukey. It's too cheesy. It really is. It's too cliched. And, but people are afraid to rip Kate Scott. You know, the shit that Tom McCarthy, people used to rip Tom McCarthy.
I was gonna say, I don't even have anything to say on that matter because it's I like hearing. It's not that I have against women broadcasters in the game. It's just it throws me off when I'm expecting to hear a guy talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I hear you. I don't. Beth Mowins is fine doing college football. When they let her do when she did the Monday night game, she was horrible. Right? She should be doing Indiana against Purdue. There's a lot of male announcers that should be doing Indiana against Purdue and shouldn't be doing Monday Night Football, right? So, I mean, it's really not about the woman thing with me. And I didn't think Mark Zumoff was great.
I agree.
I thought he made good calls. Like at the end, he had a lot of juice for big calls, but he was too cheesy for me as well. But yeah, you can't. I mean, you don't even think about criticizing this kid. Oh my God! Oubre goes to the basket. There's a jump ball because the basket gets jammed between the rim and the backboard. So now there's a jump ball. 5.1 seconds left in the game. But
how's that not a foul?
Call the foul. Call the foul.
How's that not a foul?
I don't know.
He goes through his hand. I don't know.
Are they going to review that?
That's a hell of a play if that's clean.
Well, they're not calling the foul because you're Oubre and you're not Kawhi.
Whew.
I don't know. Well, listen. All right. Well, Steve, have a good weekend, man. Have a good long. What are you doing for Easter?
Saturday, I'm going down to Margate with my cousins / my with my little goddaughter and her little sister. So we did an Easter egg hunt with my cousins growing up, and now that we have little ones to do it with, we do it with them. And
Nice.
then our parents hide little liquor bottles for us, so that's fun.
Oh, nice. Who's got the house in Margate?
My cousin's fiance.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. She figured it out, right?
Damn, yeah, I should have. Well, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a nice day, I think. So can't complain.
Is it supposed to be nice? I know tomorrow's supposed to be shitty, and then it's supposed to be nicer on Saturday. I think the weather's supposed to be.
I don't think I have anything planned for actual Easter Sunday, but
no.
Yeah, because if we usually do that on Easter Sunday, but we're doing
that's the Easter.
Yeah, but we're doing it on Saturday this year. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just be chilling with my parents or whatever.
Easter Mass?
No,
never,
never that.
All right.
Oh God!
He does not get the shot off. The 76ers lose 108 to 107. The hell is Oubre doing? Even if he didn't get blocked. Steve gets his prop win.
I didn't mean it that way, guys. I'm sorry. It should have just been the tie.
Nick Nurse looks like he's going to wrestle with the officials. He's extremely unhappy. Had to be pulled away by the assistants. 76ers lose. There you go, man. That's bad. Losing that game like that, man.
Nope.
A couple of leads. You got to win that game at home. Yeah. But then again, they did win. They did win in Los Angeles. So are they down the 8th now?
Yep.
Oh boy. All right.
Not good. Need the big man back.
All right. Well, listen, man, have a happy Easter. Everybody out there, have a happy Easter or whatever. And look for us next week. We'll be back on Monday at 9 p.m. So, Steve, again. Lots to talk about. Follow, subscribe, like, comment.
Boom. Nice and clean right there, baby.
I can't get them in the correct order every time, though.
Like, comment, follow, subscribe.
Boom. There you go. At John Marks Media. And don't follow Steve. Follow him on Instagram for his squatting activities. Sgallo33. Everybody have a good night. Happy Easter. We'll talk to you